Hello, Dr. Jeanette Raymond here, psychologist, psychotherapist, and relationship expert, here to give you an overview about intimacy problems that I have found couples facing in their romantic lives. So the first one is about the dance that couples do. One member of the couple wants to get close and feel connected and makes the approach. The other one puts them away and says no, and puts all sorts of barriers up. You know, they talk a lot, they get busy, they ridicule the person because they're irresponsible for wanting to goof around, you know, all sorts of things, because they don't want to feel like the other person is going to get a window into their soul. They don't want the other person, their partner, to see that if they look all the way in, there might not be anything there. I've had that said a lot of times to me by members of couples. The other thing is they think that their partner is going to see how ugly they really are, what bad thoughts and feelings they have, and that's going to make them run away. And the third thing is they don't want to feel that they might have a need, that somehow they're going to be seduced and pulled in a direction that's going to make them feel weak and so on. So while they're pushing their partner away, the partner who wanted to get close, who was feeling romantic and wanted to connect and share and, you know, just be together, gets angry, gets depressed, and they hatch out a plan that when their other partner wants to get close to them, they're going to teach them a lesson. They're going to put the wall up. They're not going to let them in. They're going to show how awful they felt. They're going to prove to them that they don't really want to be close and they don't really want it. But just at the moment when their partner wants it, that's when the revenge and the power play comes in. So they put the wall up and they get great satisfaction of seeing their partner trying to poke a hole, trying to look over the wall, trying to find a way in. And they say, no, you didn't want me when I wanted you, so it's just too late now. You're not going to get in. And boy, do I love seeing you try, because now you know exactly how bad I felt. Now you know how humiliated you made me feel. Now you know how small you made me feel just because I wanted to love you and get close to you. Well, now that you want it, go suck it up, because I'm not going to let you in, and you need to suffer like I did. So that's the first dance. The second intimacy problem that I see a lot when I'm with couples or even with individuals who are wanting to save their relationships and are unhappy because they can't, is the matter of playing certain roles in the relationship. You know, the people that I see with intimacy problems, they've grown up in families where everybody had a certain role. So recently I met someone who told me that in her family, in order to feel like she was a valuable member of the family and that she was worthy of being spoken to, of being taken out with them and so on, was that she had to be a very good girl, and that meant taking care of everybody in a way that made her reliable, and they could count on her to do the right thing, to be unselfish, to be always available, to be there for everybody else. And she had to put herself aside. So when she had adult romantic relationships, she was the good girl. She did the same thing. She was the perfect cook, mother, housekeeper, partner, sexual partner, whatever. But the emotional part of her was completely closed off, because in her childhood, it wasn't okay. She wasn't supposed to have any needs of her own. She was only supposed to take care of everybody else's. So she kind of shut that off. And she had expected her romantic partner to approve of her doing that in the same way as her family did. When he didn't, when he wanted to get close and just be equals with her and enjoy life together and take care of each other rather than her doing all the caretaking, she didn't like it because it wasn't what she was familiar with. She wanted to reestablish the good old rules that she knew worked, and she tried to impose it on her romantic relationship. And her husband to be. And then later on, her husband, when he became her husband, felt stifled and put in a box, like he had to behave in a certain way so that she could feel she was doing her job, and he had to do his job, which is what she decided it was. This is the game, this is the way we play house. And of course, it wasn't a relationship, it was a business transaction. I do this, you do that, and we'll all be all right. So that's number 2. You can't have intimacy under those conditions. The third problem that I see a lot is about couples who have difficulty feeling comfortable in an equal position. They too grew up in families where there was one boss and everybody had to do as they were told, and the way to get connected and have pleasurable times was to do as you're told and nothing else. And then they could, be sure of being loved and cared for and so on. So in their romantic relationships, they kind of repeat that same pattern. One person takes on a particular authority role and organizes the romantic life around it and feels good about it because that's what they think they should do. But the other partner feels small and humiliated and not really loved for who they are. So it becomes a power game. Then they get angry and they change that. So the other one then starts taking up the axe. No, I'm going to be powerful. I'm going to tell you what to do. No, you're not. Yes, I am. And that's how it goes. And they keep switching the seesaw of who's powerful, who isn't, who gets to be the helpless victim, who gets to be the sadist with the axe in their hand, who gets to be the masochist. They're always fighting for which one's up and which one's down. But being equal is scary as hell, because it means they both have to look out for the parts of them that want power and also feel helpless at the same time, which is being human. But in their past lives, they were not allowed to have that. They could either be helpless or powerful, and that's what they kind of keep doing. And that makes for very raw edges, spiky edges, nothing that can connect and mingle and soften and gel. So that's problem number 2. Problem number 3 is the issue of feeling needy. By far, in a way, one of the most common things that my clients tell me is that they don't want to feel needy. It makes them feel weak and childish and vulnerable, and they would rather be hard and pretend that they don't need anything, they can take care of themselves, and yet they're miserable, they're unhappy, they feel alone, they feel ignored, they feel like they're workhorses, that they don't get any appreciation, they don't get any tenderness. The thing is, it's available to them, but because they don't want to feel needy, they don't see it. It's kind of like, if you don't believe there's a Santa Claus, you're never going to see one. So it's the same kind of thing. They don't see that it is available. It's there for the taking. It's not going to rob them of anything. It's there when they want it, and they can say, I'm full, and come back another time when they're hungry. So they permanently starve themselves. And if you've ever been on a diet or you've stopped trying to smoke or something like that, you know that all it does is make you want it more and more and more. And that's what happens. So when they starve themselves of the love and affection and the tenderness that emotional intimacy brings, they become volcanoes inside because they're angry and they're mean because their needs are not being met. So they take it out on their partners, which then prevents any kind of intimacy from developing naturally. It's all about batting each other, ramming horns, butting heads, and never any softness, never any empathy, never any connection, never any equality. And that by itself puts an awful strain on both parties. They can't relax, they can't laugh, they can't enjoy themselves. They're either proving that they're the good people, they're good boys and good girls, and why aren't you loving me because look what I did for you, and look how good I am, and why aren't you acknowledging my efforts? or they're feeling like their partner is, minimizing them, and they're helpless and they can't do anything about it, and they're being abused and taken advantage of. Again, there's no way people can connect in those kind of situations. So those are the three problems that I want to make you aware of. Now, when you read more on the page, I'll talk in more detail. I'll direct you to more videos about why people push each other away, what their fears are, and suggest ways in which they could put down some of these weapons that they use to knock each other down. And at the end of the page, I would love, where it says reply, to hear from you about what issues you've faced, what kind of emotional intimacy struggles you're having, have had, and I would love to hear from you, and look forward to it.